get familiar. So if you don't know by now, then you should probably get familiar.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Re-Rack. I am Nathan Brantley. This is Corey Klossing from The Bowling Fix. On this week's episode, we are going to talk about the PBA awards. We're also going to talk about the PBA League, as well as the playoff. And we're going to dapper in a little bit of collegiate bowling and discuss the holiday tournaments down in Vegas. But for starters, since I am not perfect, I must make amends for me butchering something in the bowling industry last time. Motive is actually producing balls in Michigan, not Wisconsin. I'm not quite sure where I got Wisconsin from, but to be accurate with my statements, Michigan is the place where Motive is made. It was pointed out to me by some friends of mine who are staffers, and I apologize. But yes, it is made in Michigan. Michigan muscle shirts. I got it. As well as Brunswick. In our last episode, we talked about, are they going to register all 7 brands? And we had the coup that they weren't going to register all 7 brands. And then literally less than a week later, they registered all 7 brands. So yes, that is not really a thing anymore to wonder if they are, because they did in fact register all 7. But yes, since we're not perfect and we want to make sure we provide accurate information for all of you, I had to make sure to put those out there right now so our comment section doesn't get slaughtered and our credibility doesn't either. But back to the topics at hand. PBA award reactions. So we got the Rookie of the Year being Michael Holloman, and we got the Player of the Year being Jason Belmonte.
Again.
It never stops. It out the park. Off the hand. So clearly, the Player of the Year, not a surprise at all. Not a surprise at all. Did you have anybody else lined up for Roy? I didn't necessarily.
Maybe Jacob Buttriff? But, I mean, how can you give it to him over Belmo after winning 11th?
Oh, yeah. As far as this season is concerned, Belmo did things that you already knew Belmo was dominating the world. And if you could have a resurgence of being dominant, he did bring back a resurgence of being dominant. It made every show that it felt like he was making every show that he touched. It was absolutely unreal. And
he didn't have another major if he wouldn't have 7-10 twice.
Legitimately, based off carry, he would have. That's unreal. And he actually made an open show, which that's the one thorn in his side. And he made a show, and he was close. Outside of that show ruined everybody, except for Frankie. But yeah, clearly U.S. Opens are his. Yeah, no, that's easy money. U.S. Opens, no big deal. But yeah, as far as Rookie of the Year, I didn't see anybody else but Michael deserving it, but also it's because he was in the limelight. So yeah. I'm sure there's some people flying under the radar. Mitch, shouts out to Mitch for making the Master Show. He was definitely in the running. I'm sure. Yes, very much so. Too. Oh yeah, hair amazing. The mop is amazing. And then Packy's on the come up.
Well, Packy's definitely
especially, once again, shouts out for that last show. Purple Hammer's in his hand. Stay tuned. But yeah, as far as this season is concerned, do you know any dark horses coming out on tour that could snag a Rookie of the Year? Do you know anybody else who might be on a revenge trip to take over the world of PBA who could dethrone Jason Belmonte? Do you have any ideas?
I mean, maybe EJ. That's like the only person, like, right off the top of their head, you're like,
he is a former.
Right there.
He is a former. And he hums around, yes. That is a battle because that has become a rivalry as of late. And it's definitely something that every time they're in the show together, I'm excited to watch it. Every single time. But you could have, if you want to call this man a dark horse, Sean Rash is back in full effect. So could we make it a thing where that rivalry from so long ago becomes a rivalry for the Player of the Year race?
So I want a grudge match to decide it at the end of the year.
If on the last show of the year, or even in the playoff, if they caught each other in the finals,
the championship,
that would be a fantastic time.
That'd be the highest rating bowling show ever.
I know I'd watch it. I'd watch the mess out of that. But beforehand, well, I guess in the past couple years, when he wasn't Sean Rash, wasn't back in full effect, whenever they faced each other, you kind of knew who was going to win. Mm-hmm. So it's like the rivalry died down a little bit, but now I feel like it's going to pick up more steam. So that could be a storyline for this next season. Stay tuned for that one.
Oh, I'm making a storyline. It's not a storyline.
I would do the same thing because it's quite possible that some interesting things could pop off. I definitely can't think of... I'm trying to think of some, I guess, former collegiate players who are stepping out on tour this year. I haven't heard anything from any of my contacts that anybody's coming out. But I feel like there could be a surprise this year for Rookie of the Year. I feel like it'll be someone that you've probably never heard before. It could be a thing.
All of a sudden pop up.
Oh, yeah. Out of left field. I'm excited for it, though. I'm very excited.
I think the really exciting ones are the people that are in between that, like the couple year people in, like Nick Pate, Mitch,
Packies,
Kyle Sherman.
Definitely. And it wasn't a surprise to see him in the final cuts for the Player of the Year situation or even close to being in the SB consideration because he did have a year. He did have a year. Got his first title at the Lucy, and he was everywhere.
Made a couple TV shows.
Yes. So hopefully, being the good guy that he is, I hope he could step up his game even more than he already has and come in there and make some noise. Because being like, if the rankings are always stagnant, that provides no fun. You love it when people come out of nowhere and shake it up a little bit. Because if someone can dethrone Belmo, that's not a player who's been on for 10 plus years, it'd be something nice. Or even if Norm kept doing Norm things and managed to win even more.
55?
Oh, goodness gracious.
Oldest player of the year ever?
I'd sign up for that. I would definitely sign up for that.
I mean, there's a lot more dual pattern tournaments this year. And
yes,
he did win
there
both
is.
His titles on those last year.
And he seems to like those a lot because he does things that keeps him out of trouble. And that's exactly how you win a dual pattern tournament.
How about this for a dark horse? Going with Team Fish, the Shark Man, winning Player of the Year.
All year last year, he definitely showed some signs of being able to do things that you didn't think he was able to do.
Oh, no.
Given with the playoff, I wasn't necessarily surprised because he just whacked him. Yeah, he just whacked him.
Yeah.
But I definitely could see it. If we're talking about the man who, could call his own 300 on the burn.
Oh.
Lofting to nowhere land. I feel like...
that was the most clutch performance I've ever seen.
It
mattered nothing.
Exactly. If you haven't seen it, please go find that video on the Brad and Kyle channel of Chris Prather calling out that he's going to shoot 3 and then in fact shooting 300. That was at the Open, correct?
I think so.
Yeah, at the Open show.
Out of the cut.
Oh, completely out of the cut. It said, you know what, guys? Why not? Let me go ahead and make this happen. And he did, in fact, make it happen. It's absolutely incredible. One bad shot out of 12.
For an easy hundo.
Yeah, beyond me. But speaking of Prather and the playoffs and, the league and everything, do you think that the Lumberjacks are going to repeat?
Oh, for sure. If they get Mitch and Chris back, plus Big Nasty.
Are they going to franchise them?
Oh, I mean, there's a tough decisions on who you're going to franchise.
Because naturally, you're going to franchise West. That's your player. Yeah. And then, especially with everybody kind of busting on the scene this year, and there's not really an unsigned hype for the teams anymore. Mm-hmm. It's kind of what they're capable of, so you go and snag them. So if they could keep their core intact, I feel like it's possible. Plus, that fan base up there, unreal. So they definitely have that hometown advantage. I need to get up there someday. Watch a show, do something to get up there.
I'll be a Lumberjacks fan.
Man, all the gear. Yes. But Prather again, playoff-wise, is there a repeat?
Oh, man, the playoffs are like March Madness. Guaranteeing a repeat on that. If you repeated on that, you should just be the Player of the Year instantly.
Yeah, borderline impossible.
You can take dead last every tournament, but if you repeat that,
if you slide in that cut and make that up, more power to you. I know we, tried to forecast or hopefully forecasted a Sean Rash versus Belmo situation in the championship. I would not mind if Chris Prather did a repeat. That's a grind festival. That's a lot to try to get to, but I'd be down for it. I'd super be down for it. Great guy, deserves every ounce of his winnings, and I'd be down for it. Another 100K in the pocket, not bad.
I'm just waiting for an awesome Shark jersey.
Please.
He's got already has a slew of awesome jerseys. Just needs a Shark.
Random thought. We didn't bring this up for Player of the Year. Didn't bring this up except for the U.S. Open situation. Francois Lavoie. Could he, picking up at the end of the year, had an awful in certain terms beginning of his season, started to work on some things, get better, came back, won the Open again, first time since 16. I can't really say first time because it's not like he has 5 of them. Yeah. But when you're winning less than 10 majors and less than 10 titles and 2 of them are Opens, we're gonna say that you got it together. You're already an illustrious company.
He's so quiet. He's just gonna sneak into those things.
Yeah.
And at the end of the year, you're gonna go, oh, he has the resume for it.
Could he possibly get into Player of the Year consideration? Could we consider him for playoff winnings? Do you see it? Is it possible? I feel like it's possible because if his game has gotten back to 2016 status and his mind is in the right place, I feel like he definitely has the talent to do it. Could you see that happening?
I can see win the playoffs. Player of the Year, maybe next year.
You said maybe next year, so you're going to give him this year to
Chris this year, and
okay,
then Frankie next year.
Okay, so you're giving 2 years of darkness to Jason.
And then Jason Momoa is going to go, what the hell?
That's a very bold claim.
Man?
If we're trying to claim that we could get a repeat of the playoff, trying to claim that Momoa's going to go 2 years of a drought, that's almost unreal. Almost scary. Unreal. But live on Saturday, December 28th, the Bowling Fix, this channel right here that you're watching, is going to have a top 10 for both Storm and Roto Balls of 2019, as well as a top 10 for Storm and Roto Balls of the decade. Staffer Luke Rosedahl, the man, the myth, the legend, and one of our good friends, is going to come down, and it's going to be a joint channel situation. We're going to discuss the balls, or excuse me, I'm not going to be there, but they are going to discuss the balls, and we're going to have a little bit of an interesting time with some debate, give you something to debate about.
I feel like that comment section is going to get roasted.
I'm excited for it. I am absolutely excited for it. Especially because my hands may or may not be there to be cut off, so I'm here for it. But collegiate tournaments. We did say that we were going to talk about some collegiate bowling on this show, and we are here to talk about some collegiate bowling on this show, especially because we're 2 former collegiate bowlers. So why would you not talk about collegiate bowling? One of the most exciting tournaments of the year. Two of the most exciting tournaments of the year. The Glenn Carlson tournament and the Collegiate Shootout down at South Point and Gold Coast. This year, at South Point, Glenn Carlson, the Wichita State men took the W, and then the San Xavier women took the W.
That was a surprise.
Yes,
but
because
well earned.
It's always a grind festival down there, and there's teams that come out of left field and snag it. That on the men's side, it seems as if the most known teams typically win it, but then on the women's side, it could be a toss-up. It's definitely
has the best 2 days.
And not even the best 2 days. You could have a decent first day, a decent second, an above decent second day, slide into the cut and make some things happen. If you could execute on the burn, go ahead, ladies, go ahead.
Oh, that's where the fun began every year.
I loved match
play. Sneak into the dance. And
match play was my favorite. I am a match play bowler. Qualifying, if I can get the back row out, we'll talk about it. Yeah. But match play, I'm probably going to put them in the hole. Gold Coast, the Collegiate Shootout, one of the most interesting tournament formats of the year, was won by Calumet on the men's side, and then on the women's side, Martin Methodist. Congrats, women.
Oh, yes.
Women and men on both fronts, because, Vegas is a fun time. Just being there, the environment, everything's fun about it, but just
Vegas.
but you're pumping out 4 straight days of tournament bowling, collegiate tournament bowling, and it's a grind festival. It is a grind festival. By the end of it, you're tired, and
it's like the one tournament I was excited to get back on the plane to go home because I was too exhausted.
Yeah, it's a lot. It is absolutely a lot to take in, especially if you're in your first season of doing it, if you're a freshman, or even if you're an upperclassman who was on the developmental team, getting to go, being in that environment, seeing South Point for the first time. It's something else.
Seeing South Point for the first time is
goodness.
daunting.
Yeah, very. Some would call it even intimidating. It's a lot to take in.
Huge.
Goodness.
You have these rafters hanging up with the U.S. Open accomplishments for 50 years.
And scores from the USBC Opens that you didn't even think were fathomable. But yeah, like it's a lot to take in, but it's a beautiful place. Beautiful place. 10 out of 10 Nathans would suggest you to go to the South Point Bowling Plaza at any point in time. Or
even the regular bowling alley in South Point's always overlooked because of the plaza.
Exactly, but it's an awesome place too. It has its fair share of history in the form of junior golds and other situations like that. It's a beautiful place.
Upcoming junior gold too.
Yes, they have brought junior gold back to Vegas. I totally forgot about that, but yes, for the first time in feels like almost a decade. Yeah, that they're going back to Vegas and they're putting their hands in almost all the bowls down there. Finals are going to be at the illustrious South Point, as it should be. Yeah, as it should be.
No offense to any other bowling center out there,
but when you build an entire bowling plaza onto a casino, and the owners of the casino are like, you know what, we could do this. Yeah. You probably deserve to host the finals of any big tournament humanly possible. But how do you feel about the move for youths to go down to Vegas?
I feel like it's not as big of a deal as some people made it out. Like some parents are like, oh my gosh, it's Vegas, I can't take my kids out there. But in all reality, like everything you need is inside these hotels.
Honestly, you don't have to leave the hotel.
In there. I mean, South Point has a movie theater in there.
Honestly, as does the Orleans.
Yeah.
And in the grand scheme of things, travel-wise,
it's cheap.
Yeah, getting places in Vegas is not expensive in the slightest.
Yeah. Staying there is not expensive either.
Honestly, the place where you spend your money is going out of the casino and at the tables. Yeah. If you gamble or you go outside of the casino, that's the most money you're going to spend.
But you have the kids, you're not going to sit
as long as you stay inside the confines of that casino and don't gamble, your trip is going to be very cheap.
Yes.
From personal experience on the collegiate bowling side and the open side, it's not as bad as everyone could think it is. But I do think it's an interesting move to go back there because it's a massive tournament. Mm-hmm. And you go into a place in which, outside of, the MBS, a whole arena setting, stage for just tournament bowling, for the youth to be able to go there and experience that, I feel like it's solid. It's good. I'm a big fan of that move.
You want to make it the most prestigious youth tournament in the world, you got to take it to the most prestigious place.
Oh yeah, most definitely. You can sit there and you talk about historical places. South Point registers now on a list of historic places because you got Francois Lavoie, another shout out, dropping 300 at the Open, and one of the Open, his first Open, his first green jacket.
On that 12th ball.
Yeah, the Alpha Crux, he didn't like the way it rolled for the first 20,000 strikes it threw. Yeah. So the Phil don't need that extra money. Let's just go ahead.
Forget the 10 grand.
But hey, that's how you got to do it. You got to be in the mindset of what's happening next. You can never. The match is locked up. So as a true professional, you want to make sure that if you go into the next match, which is the final, you want to make sure you still have that reaction.
For the big money.
Exactly. That 300's nice. Yeah. Having that next to your name is nice. Cool. Everybody congratulating you is cool. But if you throw 300 and you go to the next match and you shoot 180, clearly there's 300. Yeah, there's a look for 300 out there. Yeah. And if the other man can get up there and figure it all out, and you only shoot 190 with your ball reaction, and he shoots 270, that 300 was kind of for nothing. Because, you get your second place check. Yeah, you get your 10 grand, but you want the jacket. You want the title next to your name.
Yes. The eagle.
You want all that. So I do kudos to you for being able to have the awareness to want to look towards the next match instead of just focusing on, I guess, the big thing at the moment. Yeah. But that's all we have to talk about on this episode of the Bowling Fix. This is our second episode. We appreciate all of the feedback that you guys have given, both positive and negative. We're always down to hear more. So please subscribe to the channel. Leave some comments down at the bottom. We're always trying to get better. We're never going to get bitter. Always trying to get better. Yes. And stay on the lookout for our next episode. We have some very interesting stuff to talk about. discussing things as far as the preseason rankings or any other news that is coming out of the bowling world. So thank you once again. I am Nathan Brantley, Corey Clausing. Until next time.